social media isn't luck. It's consistency and it's good ideas. And it's those two things together. Can you consistently deliver on what your content is promising? It doesn't matter if you have the idea if you do not take any action and if you don't see it through. Sometimes people are like, I've spent years on this idea,
But what do you have to show for it?
But what do you have to show for it? Do it,
yes.
But do something.
People always come to me like, oh, how do you start? It's so embarrassing, it's so scary. I'm like, yeah, well, if you think about it, if you do something, if you post a piece of content and it doesn't get any views, then no one's seeing it.
LinkedIn is cringe, but use LinkedIn. Oh my God, that is the frontier of social media. LinkedIn is soon to be, I guarantee it, the easiest place to go viral. And I'll explain.
Ben, thanks for being here, man. How you doing?
Feeling good. Thanks so much for having me, you guys. This is awesome.
Excited.
Of course. Okay, so just to give everybody some background on Ben. Ben is the co-founder of a San Diego-based community called Cinque. His events have over 500,000 impressions across all his socials. He grew his Instagram from 0 to 1,000 followers in about a month. I think it was fairly quickly. And your events consistently get like over 400 guests to show up, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, that's Ben. Excited for you to be here and touch on a couple of topics.
Yes, really excited. Thank you so much for coming. Very interested to hear about how you've been able to just leverage social media to, one, gather people and actually get them to come to a physical location. I think now we're realizing more and more how powerful organic social can be. So very excited to dive into that with you today. But before we do that, I would love to play a little game. So
let's do it.
Are you a TikTok or Instagram user?
I use both, but if we're talking content, I love TikTok.
Okay,
Huge
let's
fan.
TikTok it up.
Okay.
Pull out your phone.
Okay.
We're gonna look at your For You page and really dissect who is Ben.
Oh boy.
Because the algorithm knows the truth.
I was gonna say we'll see. We'll see how this is.
Okay.
I get a lot of film edits. I get a lot of like.
We have Emma Chamberlain.
Yeah, I get
with her
like
new hair.
I get some somber stuff, but I get like a lot of really creative like things as well. I like to kind of use TikTok as like short bursts of inspiration, which like, dude, that sounds so corny.
No, dude, that's good.
TikTok for inspiration.
Honestly, that's what we do.
Yeah. I think as long as you're using it as like a tool,
yes.
Right? I think that's the best use case versus just like
totally
doom scroll entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm like, I doom scroll. I'm not above
everybody
it,
does.
But I try and limit it specifically with TikTok because I really like when I go on TikTok if I'm like, oh, I came out of this and I'm like inspired. Like I just saw all these different ideas. I spent 30 minutes of my time. Okay, cool. Now I can go out and make something. Now I'm like charged emotionally to go and create.
How do you like when you get those ideas on TikTok? Are you saving things to folders? How do you actually be actionable with those learnings?
I think it'd be interesting if you guys went into my liked videos as well. I like and save a lot of really cool videos that I like to go back to. Like I said, a lot of film stuff, a lot of like
interesting
short form, like mini like edits. I don't know. But yeah.
Are you a mosher? I'm seeing a big mosh pit right now.
I am a mosher.
This guy loves Ray.
That's funny. I don't think I could ever mosh. Okay, I've seen a mosh pit. Oh, I'm seeing the greatest misconception about the Bible. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
A TikTok ad. Oh, are you a fan of iOS 26?
I actually haven't gotten iOS 26 yet.
Well, this video is telling you it's very ugly. So. I have it, and I
that checks out.
I'm not a fan.
Is it like the glass effects?
Yeah, I don't like how it's like see-through.
The liquid glass. My mom came in the other day and went on an absolute tear. She was like, "Do not get it. Do not download it. Do not do this. Do not do that." And I was like, "Okay,
okay, Mom, fine, Mom, fine." Okay, I love it. I'm curious. I want to go through your save. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna go through it.
That's where all the good stuff is. So.
Okay, so do you look at? I'm seeing like very artsy film stuff right now. For those that can't see this, it's like a wilderness adventure, but the most artsy thing I've ever seen. Do you use this for your social post inspiration?
I've always considered myself more of a writer than like a visual. Like I think verbally. I run through stuff verbally, but I love like creative visuals. I love advertising, but I like writing advertising. And I've never been strong at doing things visually. So I usually need like a partner or someone to help me out visually. So this is where I get my inspiration as I look at all these people making all this visual stuff and I go, oh my gosh, I could never do this. But I can get the idea there and I could write it to where it sounds really amazing, but I just can't quite get the video, at least not efficiently. Right. Maybe some point later in my life, I'll learn how to edit these amazing videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But for right now, I can't for the life of me do it in a timely fashion.
That's actually so interesting. Here, I'll give this back to you. Yeah. That's actually so interesting because I think for a lot of people, that's how they feel. Like there's this big block. Socials feels like it's such an important thing to be on right now, especially video.
Absolutely.
But for so many people, myself included, it feels like a block. Like, I don't know how to film something. I don't know how to edit something. I don't really want to know how, but it feels like such a powerful medium. Do you think that can be learned / do you do anything in the forms of like writing and copy that is also powerful for your personal brand?
Yeah, so I think that's a big question, and we're getting deep quick, but to kind of like start to answer your question, back in school, I wrote about how editing was a new form of media for Gen Z. Like every generation has their own major form of like art or media, right? And we look at movies, we look at music, we look at, different technologies that influence those. Well, this is the first time that we have access to all this stuff and everyone has the ability to do it and everyone has the ability to post it, right? And so then editing came up almost as like its own art form within this technology and this medium that is social media. And I was immediately fascinated by it. I was like, this is super powerful. This is super cool. And also sometimes at the same time, absurd and makes no sense and like is hilarious. So to answer your question, I like a lot of like the writing of like stories. So I love telling stories. I think editing tells a story about the world that we're in right now with social media. We see a ton of opinions, we see a ton of content, and everything's really confusing and absurd. And editing is kind of a way to like package that together and make someone feel something. Yeah. And I can't quite actually do that with words. I can only do that through a partner or someone else that like sees the world that way. Right. So that where copywriting kind of fits in is, can I use these narratives on social to tell a bigger narrative? And that's where I've kind of found the balance. Is like, I can't quite make sense of these short form videos. I've written a couple, I filmed a couple myself for Cinque, and then at my job as well. But like, it's really interesting when you see some of these young people like, Gen Z that can just put these things together. It's incredible.
It is incredible. It blows my mind. That is so interesting. So do you feel that content might be moving in that way where it's almost more editing focused in that form of like true art than the casual, let me pull up my phone and film something very quickly?
Yeah, I think that when we have to look at the film industry, right, which did it first, right? We were first editing when it came down to films, and they often say the movie's found in the edit, right? And now I think that the movie is 12 seconds long and the movie is the edit. So it's a pretty weird dynamic I think we have going on with content and art and what's content and what is art. And I don't really know, but I really like, consuming it. I really like watching it. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really fascinating.
I think it's super interesting too, because I think TikTok versus Instagram, it sounds like actually, in my experience, Instagram has a lot more like high production, high quality type videos. It's very much like cinematography, cinematic, versus the stuff that's on my For You page on TikTok. It's very much like super fast 10-second clips, somebody talking to a camera, just like talking about their life, something relatable, right? But it sounds like you really like the high production stuff. Like that's where the art really resonates with you.
Yeah, I like the high production stuff, but at the same time too, you bring up a great point that like, I think that with this high production stuff comes a risk of inauthenticity, right? And I think you guys would agree, like, it's sometimes really nice to just see a guy behind a camera making whatever he wants to make, or a gal behind the camera making whatever she wants to make. And I think that is also a side that we get with this of like, this is really powerful. Like, we have Nick behind the camera making whatever Nick wants to make. And I think that's a struggle for businesses, right?
Right.
It's like, if you're a business and you're trying to compete in an attention economy, how in the world do you seem more authentic than Nick with the camera?
True.
You're a corporation,
Very true. Yeah.
So you create social content, obviously for Cinque, but then also
Yes.
for your full-time job as well.
Yes, that's correct.
How have you kind of learned from both kind of the big corp side of things with content creation and then also very bootstrap, very figuring it out, scrappy startup? And what has kind of the difference been in the strategy there?
That is a great question. That is a really great question. I think it's interesting when you look at businesses now and you look at the rate of how content has evolved and changed and the rate of which that environment continues to change. It hasn't slowed down yet. TikTok being a perfect example, right? Is there regulation to stop it? Is it going to stay around? Is it not going to stay around? And then the content changes within that. So the medium changes, the content changes, and then everyone's algorithm is completely different, right? And so we're competing for attention. And it's really hard when you bring that to a corporation and you say, hey, we have to compete now for attention. We can't just put out content. We can't just put out entertaining stuff. We have to put out attention-grabbing stuff. And so the difference between what I've done in my corporate job and what I've done in Cinque is Cinque I've been able to say, hey, I'm a guy behind a camera doing a thing. And I'm doing it to bring people together. I'm doing it to make it cool. I'm not making any money off this. Yet.
That's important.
Just you wait.
Yet. But then in the corporate job is like, and I work for a bank, so it's got to be like the most heavily regulated,
Yeah.
Totally.
really, really, really stale sometimes place to do marketing, video, content, social. But it doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means there's more rules. And with more rules, that means you got to get more creative. So I've had to get a lot more creative at the bank actually than with Cinque because Cinque there's a lot less rules.
Interesting. So with Cinque, you can feel a lot more authentic.
Yeah.
So with Cinque, it sounds like people kind of rally around you and your mission of, hey, I just want to bring people together. But obviously for the bank, it's not. You're not like, hey, I'm the owner of the bank here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super interesting. And what is kind of the response from consumers on both sides of those spectrums?
Yeah, I think that, so I'll start with Cinque. Cinque has been kind of an idea that grew out of my brain in college, post-COVID in California, where I was like, where's our communities? Where are people getting together in third spaces? What's going on? And I was kind of like, well, what if we brought music to any sort of small business to bring people in? Because I'm a huge fan of live music. You guys mentioned me moshing earlier. I love a good mosh, but I also just love when music's live, and I love having it in third space. And so for Cinque, that selling point is a whole lot easier to people of like, hey, come to a physical space at this time. Here's what's going to happen, right? It's almost like when your friend invites you and is like, hey, come to a dinner at my house at 7:30 Friday night. We're going to have this, this, and this is going to be planned out.
Totally.
You feel a whole lot more like, oh my gosh, this is, my friend, an awesome invite. It's very specific, right? As opposed to that friend that's like, oh yeah, come over to my place whenever. Mm-hmm. You're kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to intrude. Like, it's a little bit more vague. Right. So Cinque, I almost want it to feel like, hey, it's this friendly invitation. Come hang out with me and my friends, right?
That's so interesting, yeah.
The bank is almost like that little bit more vague. Okay, here's what we have as a service. Here's our house, right? Why should you come over?
Yeah.
I can't give you a specific date. I can't tell you that we're going to have live music in the lobby floor of the bank because we're not. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Right.
But
not yet.
But it's just a different customer base of, okay, I'm 23 years old. The bank is 25 years old, right?
Yeah.
I'm almost as old as this business, and this business has lived X amount of years. How do I approach that customer base? And that's the problem I'm currently working on. So I don't actually know how to answer the second part of that question.
That's really interesting. So it's like, how do businesses become more friendly and opening and like almost have like a direct call to action for consumers to know?
Absolutely.
Here's exactly what you need to do. Please come. We want you.
Please come. We want your business.
Okay. So I want to rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
I would love for you to touch on just like the backstory behind Cinque. I know you already kind of spoke about it a little bit, but I do think it's very interesting. Like you're 23 or 24?
23.
23 years old.
Yep.
You had like a pretty traditional college to like corporate world route.
Yep.
You were sitting in your office. It sounds like you were like, I got to do something more. I got to do something else. Tell me a little bit about that story, because I know we spoke about it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was super fascinating. And now you have this super, super cool brand that you're building. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I sat down and yapped Nick's ear off about this a couple of times to get his advice, his guidance on a bunch of this stuff. So, Nick, I'm sorry if you have to hear it for a third time. But
I love the story, dude. I think it's so
yeah, I was in college, and it was weird with COVID. I tell people this story all the time. I took 4 years at 4 different universities to graduate. You know, I was at one school, it wasn't quite working out. I was there to play sports, whatever, didn't work out. I came down to San Diego because I was like, I got to get close to the border. I want to surf. I want to like spend time in San Diego. It's a cool culture. I haven't spent time down there in this way before. So then I made it down to San Diego. Same thing. What's going on? How can I get involved? I'm in a dorm room. I can't have parties at my dorm room, you know? Back in high school, I would always have friends over at the house, have people over. Now I'm in a dorm room. I can't have people. I can't pack my dorm room. Right? I did pack my dorm room, but not to the extent that I wanted to in college. And I never quite landed a house either, because the real estate market in San Diego is, tough.
Yeah,
So
impossible.
I never quite landed a house either. And then I went over to Spain to study abroad, and I traveled around, hopped around Europe. And I was like, it's really cool how a lot of these, city street artists are just playing outside and they're getting huge crowds. And I was like, this is really cool. Anyways, partied the rest of my way through Europe, came back. And in my final year of college, I did a project for a local small business, and it was an ice cream shop. And the ice cream shop, for the life of them, could not bring people in. And they had this great idea of having like a tasting room as an ice cream shop. And they had a parent company, 5 minutes down the road as a coffee shop that was killing it, and a well-known brand in San Diego. And I looked at that and I went, what in the world's going on? How can you have a killer brand, a killer product in a killer space and not be bringing people in? And that's where it kind of clicked for me. And I was like, well, how do you bring people into a space? You need to invite them over to your house, right? Or your space. And you need to say, at this time, here's what we have going on, and it's for you. And then maybe if you buy a coffee, you buy an ice cream, that's a pro to the business, right? And so Cinque started as, how can I help this ice cream shop out as a senior project, right? Mm-hmm. And so I pitched to them this idea of, craft after dark, staying open a little bit longer and having like a live music act or two. And I was 21 at the time and had no idea what I was doing and had no equipment. And I tried to plan this thing and it fell flat on its face. Like completely, like you guys, like completely flat on its face. And I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone. I can't, like, this is not going to be good for business. Like,
what were like some of the
What
things
happened?
what were some of the things that went wrong?
gosh. Well, to start, I didn't have any equipment.
Okay.
That'll get
no
you.
equipment,
And I had seen the coffee shop down the road do a couple of shows, and I was like, hey, is it cool if, we use your guys' equipment? They're like, the artists bring that. And I was like, and so I reached out to the artist that I had, and then I'm like, hey, like, are we, you got stuff, right? And they're like, no, I thought you guys were going to provide stuff. I was like, oh no. And this was like a week before the event.
No.
And I hadn't done any promotion either. And I was like, okay, like I need to maybe bookmark this.
Yeah.
Come back.
Sure. Learn it.
And so
Valid,
then
valid.
a year later, exactly like Nick was saying, I'm sitting in my corporate job. I just graduated college. I'm working corporate and I'm learning a lot, but I'm not necessarily doing the most creative work. It's paying my bills and I'm thankful for that. And I'm learning a ton and I'm thankful for that. And I'm meeting all these people and I'm super thankful for that. But I'm not making anything, And especially at a bank where you don't have physical products, it can be kind of hard on top of that. Of like, what am I making? And as a creative person myself, I'm like, maybe I'll try and make a TikTok video or two, And it turned out all right. But it wasn't anything fantastic. But I was like, what can I do? How can I make something? And then I came back to this idea. And I pitched it to a coworker of mine, my co-founder, Katie. And she was like, dude, let's make it happen. Let's do it. Then I sat down and I asked Nick for some help too, after I told him about kind of the idea and what's going on. And together, all these ideas and all these people pouring into me, I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I didn't have a business to do it with. I didn't have permits. I didn't have an artist. I didn't have anything. And I was like, I'm going to buy all the equipment and promote it. Or actually, I was like, I'm going to promote it before I even buy the equipment. So then I have to buy the equipment. And so then I started Partiful, and I sent it out to all of my friends, and I posted on my story, and I opened up an Instagram account, and I was like, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. It's almost like when you're trying to plan a trip and your friends are trying to get it out of the group chat, and you're like, I bought the plane ticket.
It's
now
happening.
We have to go.
Where we're going.
Yep.
We have to plan it now.
Yeah.
This was me buying the plane ticket.
Yep.
This was me, okay, we're doing this event on this date. I gave myself that timeline. And I was like, and I just have to do it now. And that's how Cinque started. That's like the whole start. But if you want me to get into that first event, I can get into that first event.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But I think I want to highlight and reiterate why I love your story so much. I think there's so many people post-grad, right? They do this very like similar journey, and they're sitting in their office and they're thinking to themselves like, this can't be it, right? This can't be like my purpose in life. And a lot of people feel stuck because they don't know what the next step is. And I know we had like that conversation, and the best thing I think anybody can do if they want to just try something is think of what it is you're trying to sell. In your case, it was like an event, a community.
Absolutely.
And then the second thing you got to do is just make a video about it. Like I'm on your Instagram page right now, and the first video you posted is just you talking to a camera about what this idea could be.
Yeah.
It got 6,000 views, and your first event over 400 RSVPs. All you did was post a TikTok video and then create a party to do the RSVPs.
Yeah.
And the event absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
And you had no idea how to source the equipment. You didn't really know who the DJs were going to be. Yeah. But you figured it all out because you had the pressure from posting the first video, and the people were waiting and expecting for that thing to happen.
Exactly.
You know, and so sometimes I think that's all it takes is you just have to post that first video.
Yep.
Which is exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first event ever, Surf and Sounds.
Yep.
We're 400 RSVPs.
Yep.
This was in August, I believe, right?
No, so our first event was actually a talent show.
The talent show.
So the talent show was back in May.
Okay.
And it was, I think we had roughly like 200 RSVPs.
Okay.
And then we had, I think, 130 people show up over the course of the day. Okay. And then at one point we had 100 people at the space.
Wow.
Which was insane.
Wow.
I was expecting 20.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so absolutely blew it out the park.
Yeah.
You spent $0 in paid advertising. This was all yourself.
$0.
This is something brands, they just like don't understand how to possibly do that, right? I think like people just rely on paid ads so much.
Yep.
They rarely think about how could I do this organically. Talk to me a little bit about that strategy, how you went about that, and just like the mindset of like, okay, I have the product, I have to get people to this thing. How do I make it appealing for these individuals?
Yeah, well, I love that question because it comes down exactly what we were just talking about, is posting that first video gave me the pressure to just say, okay, now if I don't do this, I'm going to let down, the 100 people that have now RSVP'd for this event,
Totally.
or the now 200 people that have RSVP'd for this event. And so that pressure, right, at least for me, was like, okay, now I have to do it. And I think a lot of people like to throw around ideas in the corporate world, and they like to throw around ideas, in their own life. And they like to say, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great if I did this?
It's easy to have an idea. It's so easy. Anybody can do it.
But sometimes people are like, oh, I've spent years on this idea,
But what do you have to show for it?
But what do you have to show for it? And I think that's where I looked at myself and I went, okay, I have to do it now. Mm-hmm. And I am going, I was expecting 20 people at that first event. And I told myself if I got 20 people there, I was happy with it. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was like, I'm just happy that I put it on. So I went and bought speakers. I went and reached out to a friend of mine who DJ'd. And then I was talking about the event at work, and this kid literally that sits right across me in the cubicle is like, oh, I DJ sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah? Like where? And he's like, oh, my bedroom. And I'm like, cool, like send me a sample and like, well, I'll just get you to DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Like the requirement to be an artist at the first event was very low. It was
Can you do it?
Yes. Can we get a warm body up there? And you know, Nick, I've seen some of your stuff, you know, hobbyist DJs, you know, I don't know if I'm going anywhere with it, but I used to DJ a little bit for friends in college. So I know enough about what sounds good. So I was like, hey, send me a sample, right? But I'm building up all these steps. The reality is I'm just doing all this. I'm just doing all these things. It's the Nike slogan, right?
So real.
But like, it doesn't matter if you have the idea if you do not take any action and if you don't see it through. And a friend of mine, and I'm going to butcher this quote, a friend of mine, Alex, who runs the No Surf Festival down in San Diego, was kind of mentoring me through this. And he said, look, 5 people, right, will have the same idea. And I think you and I have talked about this as well. 5 people have the same idea. 3 people will, talk about it. They'll come up with the idea. They'll get like halfway. And then 1 person will actually execute it and do it. So if you're that 1 person that actually executes it and does it, you're already in like the 20th, or the 1 percentile, whatever it is, of people that have actually made it that far. And then once you get there, you know, after this first event when we had 100 people, it was like, well, what's next?
Yeah.
If I can do it as a 23-year-old with a full-time job, right out of college, dead broke, with no business to partner with, no official talent, you know, no equipment, like I literally had nothing other than this idea.
Totally.
And then the will to see that idea through. And gathering advice from different people and from, you know, friends along the way to like help out with, you know, we painted a desk and I would just invite coworkers over to paint the desk days before. But it was about making sure that the idea didn't stay an idea and it didn't stay in my head. It became what the idea in my head was.
I love that. It sounds like when you're starting off, there is no, because I think people get very stuck because they're like, oh, what is the right thing that I'm supposed to do next? It sounds like there isn't really a right thing as long as you just do it.
Yep.
So you're creating content. You're like, I don't really know what the perfect post is, what the perfect messaging is. I just know I have to do it.
Right.
What did you learn from your first event? Just throwing everything at the wall, going into your second and ones after that. As you've narrowed down and had learnings, like what have you been able to take away from that to have bigger things and more successful events after that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, like you said, is, and bringing it back to social media, is we see so many people making content. We see so much high quality content and we go, oh my gosh, I can never do that. I will never be able to do that, right? But that's not what it's about. It doesn't matter because someone behind a phone just out of college can bring 100 people to a random place with nothing and have it go well just by talking behind the phone and making a couple videos and reaching out to friends about it and asking them to promote it on social media. Like that's, I think, the beauty of what our generation understands as opposed to even millennials. And you know, what's in between millennials and boomers? Gen X, something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the producer saying right. Gen X, so yeah.
That sounds right. Right.
But I don't think that those generations understand like the power that, you know, specifically Gen Z has with this organic content the way that it is.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm just going to sit down and make it because I want to make it. And if it gets the views, it gets the views. And what I've seen also too from people our age that have made stuff like yourselves, like myself, like the people that I'm now starting to talk to, is they weren't afraid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were just like, I just want to do it. And because I want to do it, I'm going to.
Yeah.
And who cares how it turns out?
I love it. I love it. I think a good thing to remember, people always come to me like, oh, how do you start? It's so embarrassing. It's so scary. I'm like, yeah, well, if you think about it, if you do something, if you post a piece of content and it doesn't get any views, then no one's seeing it. And it doesn't matter if it does bad because no one's seeing it. Like people only see it when it does well, and that's not embarrassing. That's really, really cool. So you have to have the times where, you know, things flop and things don't go the perfect way and things can feel embarrassing. But at the end of the day, you're really the only one looking at those numbers and those failed attempts.
Yeah.
But I love that you really just have to get out there and do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think you nailed on something that's really important there, which is social media isn't luck.
Yeah.
It's not luck. It's consistency and it's good ideas. And it's those two things together, right? Is can you consistently deliver on what your content is promising, right? Is okay, you can make a bunch of really cool videos and you can blow up on social media and you can whatever. But for me to actually bring people into a space, I had to make sure I delivered all the way through. I had to make sure that first content went out, and it wasn't perfect, but I had to make sure it went out. And then I had to make sure I promoted that content. Then I had to make sure I followed up on that content with more. Then I had to make sure people were sharing it. And then on top of that, I had to deliver at the end and make content on top of that showed, hey, this is what I did. Because if I'm trying to get your Saturday, and your Saturday may have, you're going surfing with some friends, you have a concert that night, maybe you have a friend's birthday party at a bar, why the hell should you come to my thing, And the only way to show that, and the best way to show that, is organic content. Mm-hmm. And not a single paid advertising needed. It's just, hey, here's who I am, here's what I can do, here's how I follow through on it, I'll see you next time.
Right. So is that kind of the playbook for like that first video that you ever posted? Do you remember the first video you posted?
I do remember the first video.
Okay. What, break that video down a little bit, because it obviously did pretty well. Like what is the strategy that went behind that first video to promote your first event?
Yeah, I think that first video, was like, I do not know how to make it look good, so I just need to say it. And so I just got on there in my room, and like it's like 9 o'clock at night, so the lighting sucks too, and I had no idea about it.
Did you post it up on like a tripod?
Oh my, no, it wasn't even on a tripod, dude. It was on like it was on my bed, and then there was like a shoebox on my bed.
Kind of was cash. All right, do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do.
And I think, there was probably like a million takes because I didn't want to edit it because I was lazy.
So you wanted one shot, just one shot. Okay.
But then I ended up with probably more work than just editing. And I learned that later down the road.
Sure.
But yeah, that first video was just like, okay, I need to tell people attention is short, right? But I'm mostly marketing to friends for this first event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I need to tell them, party at my place, not actually at my place, party at this place. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what's going on. Here's how I'm going to make it happen. And it's free. Like, just come. And I kind of borrowed the Facebook, and a lot of tech companies do this, right? Is they're like, we need to make it cool first, and then we need to make money second. And so how can I make it cool, and how can I build that audience first and make it cool second? Mm-hmm. So I was like I was prepared to lose like $1,000. And I did lose $1,000 on the first event. Because I was like, I'll get free coffee for everyone.
Aww.
I'll set everything up. Like, I was like to the DJs, like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll buy the speakers and the cords and the equipment and everything. The DJs had their own controllers, so I didn't have to cover that.
Good.
But that first video was that step of just like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do, and it was really shitty. But then I made sure that I reached out to like every single friend I knew, and I said, can you please put this on your story? Like, can you please just put it on your story? And I think you guys have seen this as well when you guys have done content, is if I have 20 friends that put this one video of mine on their story, and each one of those friends, and we've been blessed to be in Southern California where you end up meeting a lot of people that know people.
Right.
If you do that, each one of those people may have roughly 800 followers, right? And out of that percentage that see that story that day, maybe you get, I don't know, what would you guys say is lucky? 200, 300 views on that story?
Yeah.
Right? And maybe they see someone they know, so maybe it's like a little bit more, they'll watch it. But then you take those 20 friends and you multiply it by 300, right? And they're viewing your friend's story, so they might not view your actual post. But I can't even do that math right now. But if you do that math, that's a massive amount of views just by asking friends.
Absolutely. Right? And then it feels like, oh, everybody's posting about this, everybody's talking about this. This must be something cool I need to check out.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Exactly.
And I think for like companies too, a lot of people don't understand that you can kind of recreate that artificially.
Absolutely.
Which is like a very interesting strategy that I think a lot of people sleep on. I mean, that's the whole like UGC thing and everything like that. Ambassadors, influencers, creating the fake social proof before you even have it.
Absolutely.
Is so powerful.
Well, and I wanted to stay there for a second. The fake social proof is like, you can test and see if your idea will be successful.
Yes.
before you ever even make the idea happen, right? Like I knew I could put on this event because it was succeeding on social, because we were getting those RSVPs. And then I was like, oh shit, I have to buy all this stuff now.
Yeah.
And now I have to actually put it on. But maybe if it would have only gotten like 20 views, I would have been like, all right, it's a dud. Like I don't have to go through with it. But I really like that point of like, yeah, I think companies miss out on the fact that you can test things, but you have to do it. You have to make the content.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I think a lot of people get stuck. And that's where I've been stuck sometimes at my corporate job too, in this analysis paralysis of like social media, you just have to post and see what works. What's going to get traction for you? You know, maybe you A/B test something and A works great, but B fails horribly.
Right.
And that's classic marketing. But like social needs to be approached as classic marketing in its own way.
Totally. Yeah, I think social is huge experimentation grounds, right? I think like in like the app space, we've actually seen a lot of companies, they'll just like create a like design of an app.
Right.
And they'll post it on TikTok just to kind of see if people like it. And then if it does go viral, that's when they decide to actually build it out. So it's a very similar idea. So a lot of people use it. Okay, and so back to like the strategy of socials, it was very low production, just you talking to the camera, basically explaining what the event was. Cool.
Right.
It looks like the first like 3 videos on your brand page where it was exactly that same format. The 4th video, 51K views. This was actually filmed at the event. It was this influencer called Giselle.
Yep.
Walk me through a little bit about like how did this happen? Like did you know her? Like was it just random that she showed up?
Yeah, man, that was completely random. We had no idea she was going to pop up. She's one of those like influencers of like, hey, what are things going on in San Diego? Right? Check these restaurants out.
It's perfect for you guys.
Perfect.
Yes.
It was perfect. Thank you, Giselle. If you ever watch this, thank you. Because yeah, she posted us like literally, I think it was during the event.
Yeah, it was.
And I think we were looking at her page, not to be too invasive on her page, but we're looking at her page and we see that she averages around like, 20 to 40,000 views per post. And then roughly, she'll get like a banger of a post every, so often where it'll hit like 120 or something like that. Well, ours did above average. And I think we got 55 or 60,000 views on that first post. And it was tagged with lajolla.com and San Diego Free. So we got posted on like La Jolla's official Instagram page. We got posted on, San Diego Free.com, which is like a magazine and a website. And then we got posted to her audience too. And that's kind of where things blew up. And that's where I think we ended up getting like 400 new followers in 24 hours.
No way.
From that. Yeah.
So that's so interesting. So it sounds like partnerships and working with people who are already established helps a lot. And since then you've had partnerships with like Opera Surf Club and things like that. Is that kind of the same mentality there of let's blow this up together? Yeah,
absolutely. It was, hey, Opera Surf Club has, a following of X thousand, right? 20,000. We have a following of now we had like 700 at the time. And then it was exactly, what we were talking about earlier. You just have to reach out to these people. There are going to be people, and I've talked about this with my buddy Clark, who does this brand called Stride. Go check it out. Shameless plug. I love what he's doing. But a lot of people will come to you when you start succeeding and they'll say, hey, can you promote our product? Hey, can you do this? It's easy money. The people that you want to work with, you're going to have to reach out to. And I think you guys know that too, is they're not necessarily going to come to you.
Yeah.
You're at a bar and, the people coming up to you, flirting with you aren't necessarily the people that you're going to go home with that night, right? You have to actively go out and be like, hey, let's have this conversation. So we reached out to Opera Surf and we were like, hey, we do events. We'll do one for you guys for free. And we'll do it all the way through. Once again, this first event was basically friends and family, other people that showed up. The DJs had a couple friends that showed up too. And we used that audience. We said, okay, we brought 100 people. We can guarantee you that we can bring you 100 people again, right? If not more. And we'll do promotion. We'll do all this other stuff too. And now we had, an extra 500 followers from our last event. So that megaphone got a whole lot louder. And we said, okay, cool. We posted that first poster, like collabing with Opera Surf. And I think it got I think that was like one of our highest organic posts that we had.
No way.
And it got like 30,000 just off the poster. No one was saying anything, but it was that invite. It was saying, hey, be here at this time. We're going to be playing music. It's completely free.
I love that.
That's awesome. So I also want to touch on just like the collaboration aspect, because I think it's so huge. So not only like the physical collaboration of like you're partnering with another company or brand, but also like using like the Instagram collaboration feature is super cool, because it looks like what this Giselle lady did was she tagged you guys, which was huge, but then she also just tagged these like random La Jolla pages that are super big following and also just post a lot of content around things to do. And like for people out there that have never used this feature, the way it actually works is you can tag another brand to be like a collaborator on, but they have to accept it.
Yeah.
And so if they don't know you, they probably won't accept it. But I'm guessing because she does have a large following, they're like, yeah, her events are legit. And so they did accept them. But this kind of is a cool strategy, because if you are small and you're starting off, especially in like the community-based like event space, just tag a bunch of like random brand pages on Instagram that are similar in your niche. And maybe they'll accept you if they think it's a cool video and a cool event. You don't lose anything.
Yeah.
And then you also get access to all their followers too.
Yeah, exactly. And then too, at the same time, follow it up with a DM.
Oh yeah.
And the way to do it though, and this is once again stolen from Alex, because I've seen his strategy, is he gets on LinkedIn. Maybe I shouldn't blow up his strategy.
No,
he gets on LinkedIn, and the brands that he wants to work with, he'll send them a video. Because 9 times out of 10, people are reaching out and they're saying, you know, okay, hey, we're this, we have this, we do this. Who cares?
Yeah.
You send a video, we're just talking about organic social, you send a video of, hey, what's up? I'm Ben, I'm with, Cinque. We do events, I'll do it for, X amount. If it's not successful, we'll make no money, you guys, whatever.
Sure.
But you send someone a video, that's pretty off-putting, that's pretty jarring, right?
Absolutely.
It's that approach to like marketing and sales of like, get unique with it and then blend not just social strategy into your own promotion, blend social strategy into your sales and with partnerships.
Yeah.
That's really good. And even like send a video too, like not just explaining of what, you want to do or what the collaboration is about, but like send like a demo video of what you want to collab on.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then they can see it and be like, yes, no on the spot.
Exactly.
So I like that strategy.
You give them something to sink their teeth in.
Most people probably just text them like, hey, I want to collaborate, whatever. But like they just ignore it because they're like, they don't have the time. Make it easy for them to like respond and say yes.
Yeah. And if you have the followers, you can kind of ego do it. Like, hey, like you want to collab with us? We have X amount of followers. But when you don't have followers, you got to be really humble. And you got to be like, hey, this is what we do. I'm approaching you in a unique way. What do you think? Right? Here's something to sink your teeth in. Exactly like you said.
I'm noticing a theme across, I think, everything we've talked about today when it comes to posting on socials, building a business, partnerships, meeting people, whatever it may be. One, just do it, provide value, and just be unapologetically believing in yourself and pitching yourself and just make the ask, make the thing happen. And I love that. And I think it can be applied across every single sector of everything you do. Honestly, in life.
Yeah, it's not just a social thing.
and in business, it's like if you can provide value to people, then that is an amazing thing. And people will always be there to help you out, whether it's attending an event, downloading your app, or having a partnership with you, giving you money to fundraise. Like, I think going forward in life with that of, how can I provide value to those people around me? It does truly come back. It's very interesting. And I love how you've worked that out, I think, across everything you've done.
Yeah. And I think Nick and I talked about it a little bit was, oh my gosh, it was, what were we saying? We had a conversation one time and we were talking about that idea of like, I was like, how are you not, how did you not study marketing? Because this guy is like a wizard when it comes to all this marketing stuff. And Nick was helping me out with a lot of this stuff and pushing things around. I was like, how in the world, without a degree? Because I was fortunate to have some really amazing professors that coached me along the way. But I think it's exactly like you said. It comes down to who you are as a person first. And it's just like, hey, this is me. This is what I can do. This is what I can bring to you as your friend. This is what I can bring to you as a business partner. This is what I can do for you as a business, right? And it's that same thing over and over and over again.
Totally.
And just as anything in life, with social, but just do it, you know?
Absolutely.
Like just get up and, you know, if you're watching all these TikTok videos and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to put something together and fail at it over and over and over again. And that's also cliche as fuck. Well, just fail over and over and over again. But it's like, but do it.
Yes.
But do something.
Do something.
Do
It's
anything.
the only way forward. Fail forward. Fail
Right.
forward. I love
I'm
it.
trying to figure out a way to say that in like a non-cliche way. Well, just keep trying.
I don't think there's a way.
No,
man.
that's just, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it is. That's what it takes. Okay, so let's say that there's somebody out there listening right now, okay? They've had this idea, you know, that they're also sitting in their corporate office and they're like, damn, dude, like I want to build something community-based, a brand, but they don't know where to start. Walk them through like a little step-by-step, okay? Just based on all your learnings, because you've had a ton of learning,
Yeah.
and now it's like super successful. Like, what would be some tips you would give them, right? Like tools that you use, first things that they should do, platforms that they should focus on. Like, it can be overwhelming,
Yeah,
right? There's a lot
absolutely.
going on. But it's always just about like, what is that first small step? And then you just start taking steps from there.
Yeah.
So walk them through a little bit. Like, how do you go about doing this again
Yeah.
if you were to do it again?
So I love this question. If I were to go back and do it again, here's exactly to the T how I would have done it.
Let's do it.
If you're in school, you have access to school resources. You have access to clubs. I would have started my company at school as a club using school funds. Awesome. Right?
Genius.
And then I would have used a bunch of free labor, meaning my friends and other students, to get actual experience in reaching out to businesses. As the school, you also get to use the name of the school too, to be like, hey, we're this club at Point Loma, we're this club at San Diego State, we're this club at wherever you go, and we're gonna be doing this for free. And then stack that experience.
Sure.
Then you graduate, and this is I really wanted to bring this up with you guys because we're talking about social media. LinkedIn is cringe, but use LinkedIn. Oh my God, that is the frontier of social media.
Totally.
LinkedIn is the last frontier of social media. I swear to God, it is soon to be, I guarantee it, the easiest place to go viral. And I'll explain.
Please do, because I hate LinkedIn. I'm so bad at it.
I will explain. So LinkedIn, similar to other social media platforms, you have a feed, you have content. That's where LinkedIn stops being similar, right? You can connect with people, you can message people, whatever. Understanding the platform means understanding the type of content that performs well on the platform. 90% of content on LinkedIn is glaze, right? 90% of content is, oh, I just got this promotion, or oh, I just got this award, right? And your friends support you, and your job and your coworkers support you, and people support you, and that's great. That doesn't provide anyone anything other than, your own ego. So you just graduated, you're working a corporate job. Well, what do you want to do on LinkedIn, right? What do you want to make? Start making those videos that you would have made on TikTok, those videos that you would have made on Instagram, and turn them into a LinkedIn semi-friendly post and just post it on LinkedIn. And I've been doing this recently. I don't know if you guys are on LinkedIn at all, but it's about subverting the content that's on that platform. LinkedIn, if it's 90%, hey, I got a promotion, what performs well against that is content that jokes about that.
Yes.
Totally.
Or comedic content. It still has to be respectful, skirt the line. This is a professional platform, right? But if you're finding, especially as a marketing, advertising, person, if you're posting on those platforms and you're creating on those platforms, right? Let's say you had a TikTok video that did really well, right? Let's say you post like a day in the life, right? Take that, bring it over to LinkedIn, be like, hey, here's what I'm doing on TikTok. Here's what's doing really well. This is how I'm applying it to my job.
Yeah.
Right? This is how I learned something in marketing that I can now apply to my actual job. And so if I could go back and do it again, I'd start doing this sooner, as I would take, hey, I'm succeeding at this in my personal life, and here's how it applies to my work life. And I would share that on Instagram or on LinkedIn in a funny way or in an entertaining way.
Okay.
Because, and here's a fun fact, and maybe fact check this though, but LinkedIn, 99% of users don't post on LinkedIn. That is the worst out of any platform, right? 99% of users don't post. So if you're posting, if you're doing, screw you Nike, once again, if you're doing, not just doing, you're doing, you are automatically in that 1%.
Totally.
The odds that you get someone from some company that sees that content and says, hey, I really like this guy's personality. Hey, I really like what this guy's doing. And they reach out to you, or then you have more leverage rather than a resume or an easy apply. Or you meet another entrepreneur on there that's like, hey, I really like what you're doing, is really high.
Yeah.
And so that's how I would do it. If I was in school, I would start a club and I'd reach out to actual businesses. And if I'm an early professional, I'm on that LinkedIn grind.
That's awesome. I love it, man. Okay. Well, we're wrapping up on time, but just to end it, plug Cinque, all the socials, just so everybody knows where to find you. And then where do you want it to go in the next like couple of months or a year?
Yeah. So follow us on Instagram, and then we have a TikTok too. We have cinque.us. That's CINQUE.us. And building Cinque on TikTok. Nick came up with the name, so thanks for the name, Nick.
Of course.
And anyways, you can find us on those two. We're also starting on LinkedIn too.
Yes.
So I'm practicing what I preach, not just on my personal, but on my business account too.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
So we're starting a Cinque LinkedIn too. And where is Cinque gonna be in the next couple of years? Gosh, I really like marketing and advertising. And events was my way to bring that to businesses, right? But I'd really like to go full scale my own agency.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to do marketing and advertising because I think that Gen Z, like myself, I think that we have a unique perspective on marketing and advertising that a lot of small businesses, mid-sized businesses, and even big corporations just don't understand anymore. And I think that now is the time to start my own thing and start building that and reaching out to people and saying, hey, here's what we can do events-wise. Imagine what we could do if you gave us a product to market.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm pitching this value prop here in this way and it's being successful, I don't know.
Sick.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Cinque's the first little baby. I love it, man. All right, dude. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
being
Yeah,
here.
thank you guys for
coming.
having me.
You crushed.
Much appreciated.
I love
And
it.
yeah, excited to see where Cinque goes.
Yeah.
Really dope, man.
And go check out Play Kit too. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Thanks for the plug.
On the
Thanks for the
topic
plug.
of creating, come on.
I love it.
yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ben.
guys.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.